Have you ever wondered what the future of the food industry might look like? What if it's doomed? Our daily lives revolve around food, from the simple pleasure of a home-cooked meal to the convenience of a quick snack on the go. But, as we look towards the future, there are dark clouds brewing on the horizon of the food industry. This isn't some dystopian fantasy, but a very real possibility. A convergence of factors is threatening the food industry as we know it, and it's time we face this imminent doom. This isn't about scaremongering or pessimism, but about understanding the challenges that lie ahead. And the picture isn't pretty. We've identified 5 critical factors that are leading to the potential downfall of the food industry: labor shortages, shipping delays, severe weather, inflation, and the cost of shipping. Firstly, labor shortages. The media paints a picture of a workforce that simply doesn't want to work. But the truth is far more complex. Companies are struggling to pay wages, leading to a shortage of employees. The headlines of labor shortages are merely a smokescreen to cover the truth. Next, shipping delays. The global food system relies heavily on large ships, many of which traverse the Panama Canal. But with the canal currently in a drought, hundreds of ships are lined up, waiting, leading to significant delays in the food supply chain. Then there's the wrath of severe weather. From extreme heat to wildfires, flooding and drought, we've seen it all in the past couple of years. These conditions are leading to less food being produced and less feed for animals. Inflation is the fourth factor. With costs skyrocketing, companies are closing their doors as they can't afford to stay in business. This domino effect hits everyone, from farmers and ranchers to packaging companies, delivery services, and retailers. Finally, the cost of shipping. Fuel is used in ships, trains, planes, farm equipment, semi-trucks, delivery trucks. The escalating fuel costs are passed on to the consumer, who are already stretched thin. Now buckle up as we delve deeper into the first reason: labor shortages. 2 minutes into our journey, we invite you to subscribe to Prepping for Tomorrow. Now let's discuss labor shortages. As we delve deeper into the reasons behind the impending doom of the food industry, we encounter the deceptive narrative of labor shortages. You might have seen headlines screaming about the shortage of workers, painting a picture of a world where people are unwilling to work. But let's scratch beneath the surface, shall we? The reality is starkly different. It's not that folks don't want to work, it's that companies are struggling to afford the wages. You see, firms, especially in the food industry, operate on razor-thin margins. As costs rise, these businesses find it increasingly challenging to maintain a balance between paying their employees and keeping their operations afloat. Imagine a restaurant that used to thrive, serving hundreds of customers daily. Now they're grappling with skyrocketing costs of ingredients, utilities, and rent. The money left to pay their staff is dwindling. And it's not just about the wages, it's about providing a living wage, a wage that can support a worker and their family in these trying times. This issue isn't confined to the restaurant industry. It's prevalent in farms, factories, delivery services, every cog in the giant wheel of our food industry. And yet, the narrative that's often portrayed is one of lazy workers refusing to work, rather than businesses unable to pay their workforce. The media, in many instances, paints a skewed version of reality, one that conveniently shifts the blame onto the workers and away from the economic pressures squeezing businesses. But as we peel back the layers of this narrative, we find that it's an elaborate deception hiding a far more complex and disturbing reality. Labor shortages are not just an isolated problem. They're a symptom of a larger issue plaguing the food industry, creating a ripple effect that sends shockwaves through the entire system. And as we'll see next, it's not the only challenge we're facing. With labor shortages causing a ripple effect, let's examine how shipping delays further exacerbate the situation. Panama Canal, a key route for global food shipping, now a bottleneck due to drought. Imagine the veins of the global food system, the shipping routes, clogged up. Think of hundreds of ships laden with food, waiting in line, idling, while the world's pantry grows emptier. This isn't a dystopian novel, it's the current reality thanks to the drought-stricken Panama Canal. This crucial waterway, a lifeline for global food transportation, is parched. The drought has reduced its capacity, causing a domino effect of shipping delays. The longer these ships wait, the more the food industry takes a hit. Fresh produce wilts, frozen goods thaw and spoil, and shelves in grocery stores around the world remain bare. The repercussions are felt far and wide, from the farmer to the consumer, and everyone in between. And it's not just about food. These delays affect the economy, jobs, and ultimately, our survival. While shipping delays are causing havoc, let's not forget the effect of severe weather conditions on food production. Heat waves, wildfires, floods, droughts. Our food production systems are at the mercy of these extreme weather conditions. Picture the vast golden wheat fields of the American Midwest, the lush vineyards of France, the vibrant rice paddies of China. These are the breadbaskets of the world, the lifeblood of our global food supply. But now, these once fertile lands are in the crosshairs of severe weather patterns. Heat waves are scorching our crops, turning once vibrant fields into barren wastelands. In the blistering heat, plants wither and the earth cracks, making it impossible for farmers to grow enough to feed the masses. Simultaneously, wildfires are raging across forests and farmlands, consuming everything in their path. They leave behind a trail of destruction, turning fertile lands into ash. These fires not only destroy current crops but also damage the soil, making it difficult for future growth. On the other end of the spectrum, we have floods. Torrential rains and overflowing rivers wreak havoc on fields, washing away seeds and young plants. Not only that, but the excess water also leads to soil erosion, stripping the land of its fertile topsoil, the very layer that is essential for plant growth. And then, there are droughts. These prolonged periods of dry weather lead to water shortages, making it difficult to irrigate crops. The lack of water stunts plant growth and yields, leading to smaller harvests. Let's not forget the impact of these extreme weather conditions on animal feed. The same fields that provide us with grains, vegetables, and fruits also produce feed for livestock. When crop production decreases, so too does animal feed. This leads to a ripple effect, as a lack of feed impacts meat and dairy production, further straining our food supply. So you see, when we talk about the wrath of severe weather, we're not only talking about the immediate destruction it causes, we're talking about a long-term, widespread impact on food production, from the fields to our dinner tables. Severe weather's destructive influence on food production leads us to our next culprit, inflation. Inflation, the silent killer of businesses. You've heard the term before, but what does it mean in the context of the food industry? Well, it's an insidious beast, slowly gnawing away at the survival of businesses at every level of the food chain. From the farmers tilling the soil, ranchers rearing livestock, to the packaging companies wrapping our goods, delivery services transporting products, and retail stores selling to consumers, inflation hits hard. The cost of goods and services skyrockets, making it increasingly difficult for these businesses to stay afloat. Imagine operating a bakery where the price of flour, a primary ingredient, soars. The baker can't absorb this cost, so it's passed on to the consumers. But if the price of bread doubles, triples, how many will continue to buy? This domino effect of high costs due to inflation forces businesses to close their doors. Inflation's stranglehold on businesses introduces another blow, the rising cost of shipping. Fuel, the lifeblood of our transportation systems, now a burden due to rising costs. This lifeblood is what keeps our supply chains moving, our shelves stocked, and our stomachs filled. But as it becomes increasingly expensive, its burden is felt by all of us. Let's take a step back and understand the role of fuel in our global food system. It's used in every step of the way, from the tractors that plow the fields to the ships that cross oceans, the trains that traverse continents, and the trucks that deliver goods to our local stores. Even the semis transporting food from farms to packaging facilities, or the planes flying in exotic fruits from distant lands, all rely on fuel to keep them moving. But here's the catch. As the cost of fuel rises, so does the cost of transporting these goods. And guess who bears the brunt of these increasing costs? Yes, it's us, the consumers. We're the ones who end up paying more for our food, our essentials, our daily bread and butter. And this is happening at a time when many are already financially stretched, struggling to make ends meet in a world of rising living costs. It's like a domino effect. Higher fuel costs lead to higher transport costs, which lead to higher food prices. And it doesn't stop there. These rising costs also affect the entire food industry, from the farmers and ranchers who can't afford to operate their machinery, to the packaging companies, delivery services, and retailers who are forced to close their doors as they can no longer afford to stay in business. The food industry, a vital part of our lives, is getting squeezed from all sides. It's trapped in a vicious cycle of rising costs, which are only set to increase as fuel prices continue to climb. A grim picture indeed. As we've seen, the food industry faces a grim future. It's time to prepare, to survive, and to thrive despite these challenges. Because when the tide rises, only those who have prepared can weather the storm. The future is uncertain, but our response to it doesn't have to be. As we've journeyed through the impending doom of the food industry, we've unveiled the deception of labor shortages, the domino effect of shipping delays, The wrath of severe weather, the crushing weight of inflation, and the rising tide of shipping costs. These are not just words, but realities that are reshaping our world as we know it. But in this uncertainty, there's a beacon of hope: preparedness. Being prepared means understanding these challenges, anticipating their impact, and planning ahead to mitigate their effects. It's about stocking our prepper pantries, becoming budget preppers, acknowledging food shortages, embracing homesteading, and gearing up for survival in the face of a potential food crisis. Remember, knowledge is power. Stay informed, stay prepared, and subscribe to Prepping for Tomorrow. Together, we can face whatever the future holds.